Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to the interview preparation session by 360 Digi TMG. So we'll start the session in other 2 minutes. Let us wait for some more people to join the session, and let us start the session for today. Okay. Yeah. Let's start the session. Uh, as jumping into the session, the first question which I'm giving you people were explain the steps in making a decision tree. So I think you might have gone through decision tree and all. So what are the steps to be taken to make a decision tree? What are the step format to be followed, and how the procedure might be? I'll giving you a minute. Uh, we'll discuss the answer in a minute. If anyone knows the answer, please ping me in the chat box. Now, as we looking into the steps, what are to be followed to make a decision tree, as going to it, the first step is we have to take the entire data set as an input. Okay, so by doing this decision tree, we'll get a data frame, right? So the entire data we have to take it as an input, and as coming to the next step, we have to calculate the entropy of the variable as well as the predicted attributes. We have to calculate for the targeted variables as well as predicted attributes, and we have to calculate the entropy. And then third step is we have to calculate the information gained at the attribute. What are the gain which have been occurred due to this attributes and all. As going to the next step, we have to choose the attribute with the highest information gain as the root node, which means we have to choose the one which is very perfectly preferable to the process or procedure to be done. Yeah, as coming to the next step, we have to repeat the same procedure number of times until the decision node of each branch is finalized. These are the steps to be followed to make a decision tree. Okay, so what is exactly a decision tree is? Basically, basically it's nothing but a tool that which uses tree-like models of decision and possible consequences, which also includes some chances of outcomes, resources, cost, and utilities. So for displaying the potential outcomes and consequences, we mostly prefer this decision tree, and these are the procedures to be followed to make a decision tree. Okay, yeah, yeah. As jumping into the next one, how can you avoid overfitting your model? See, you have been gone through a model. If the model has been overfitted, what are the precautions to be taken by you? What are the steps to be taken by you? If you know the answer, please ping me in the chat box. I'll see those answers, and we'll discuss the answer in a minute. Okay. Yeah. Now, as we're looking into this, how can you avoid overfitting your model? So it also gone. For this avoiding the overfitting model, we have to go through some steps, and here these are the steps to be followed. Actually, overfitting refers to a model that is only set for a very small amount of data and ignores the bigger data, which means this overfitting, it basically represents a very less amount of data frames which is in between in for as an example, there is a data set with 1,000 variables, or there is also a data set with 10 lakh variables, 10 lakh columns and rows. So as comparatively, thousand the one which is of 1,000 rows and columns is a small data set as compared to the 10 lakh, right? So this overfitting refers to those kind of data sets which are very small ones as compared to the big one. It ignores the bigger pictures and bigger data sets. It only takes into consideration as a smaller data sets. Okay, there are three main steps to be avoided during overfitting, and there are keep the model simple, which means take fewer variables into account, thereby removing some of the noise in the training data. Which means in the model you have to take only less amount of variables. Which means in the data set there are, if suppose in the data frame uh, there are n number of columns, which means 7 to 8 number of columns with serial number, serial ID, and all. So you could neglect the serial number and serial ID, which are not very important as required for the data. So you can neglect them and use only the pure variables, very important variables, to proceed further. So as coming to the next step, use cross validation techniques such as k-fold and cross validation. So we have to use this kind of techniques. Use regularization techniques such as lasso, penalize certain model parameters if they haven't likely to cause overfitting. Okay, these are the steps to be followed to avoid overfitting model, and this overfitting model only takes into consideration as very small data sets as compared, and ignores the big pictures. Okay, and these are the three steps to be followed. Okay, yeah. As coming to the next step, what are dimensionality reductions and its benefits? Yeah, if anyone knows the answer, please bring me in the chat box. I will see those replies and we'll discuss the answer in a minute. Okay. Yeah. Now, as we looking into this, what are dimensionality reduction and its benefits? Basically, what is that? The dimensionality reduction, it basically refers to the process of converting a data set with vast dimensions into data with fewer dimension fields to convey similar information concisely. Which means it basically converts the large dimension of data set into fewer dimensions. It compresses the dimensions. Okay. This reduction helps in compressing data and reducing storage space. So by using this dimension reduction, the data, if there is a vast amount of data, it compresses the data, and by compressing the data, there is more space availability, which can reuse for any other purpose. So it also reduces computation time, as fewer dimensions lead to less computing, and it also removes the redundant features. For example, if there is no point in storing a value in two different units, example meters and inches. So this is take this as an example. Okay? Yeah. As jumping into the next one, how should you maintain a deployed model? What are the precautions to be taken to maintain this deployed model? If anyone knows the answer about this deployed model, please text me in the chat box. I'll seeing those answers and we'll discuss the answer and then. Okay? Now, as we're looking into this, how should you maintain a deployed model? So, to maintaining a deployed model, these are the steps to be followed. Okay, the steps to maintain a deployed model. The first step is monitoring, which means constant monitoring of all models is needed to determine their performance and accuracy. So you have to monitor all type of models to know about the performance and to exactly know about the accuracy of it. Okay, when you change something, you want to figure out how your changes are going to affect things. Which means, suppose if there is a data set, so in the data set we have uh, 200 rows and 8 columns. Okay, so in that most of them were and sixth and seventh columns are most of them were null values. So if we replace these null values with binary numbers, what might be the changes happen? Okay, those kind of effects. What might how it might affect the procedure? How are the further steps to be done? We have to monitor consequently. This needs to be monitored to ensure it's doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, yeah. As going to the next step, evaluate. Evaluation metrics of the current model are calculated to determine if a pure algorithm is needed. Okay, yeah. Jumping to the next step, compare. The new models are compared to each other to determine which model performs the best. So, okay. So, as an example, if we take any new model as a new model into consideration, so we will just compare it to the older ones, by which model it just performs the best and which exactly and a perfect output you will get by which model taking. So we'll just get to know about it by comparing it and rebuilding. The best performing model is rebuilt on the current state of data. So we have to rebuild the exact best performance model. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And jumping to the next one, how can you select K for K means? What is the process to be done to select K for K means? I'll be giving you a minute. If anyone knows the answer, please ping in the chat box. I would like to see those replies and we'll discuss the answer in a minute. Okay. Yeah. Now, as we're looking into this, how can you select K for K means? Okay. We use the elbow method to select the K for K means. Okay. This is a kind of method which is used to select the K for K means cluster. The idea of the elbow method is to run k-means clustering on the dataset with where k is the number of clusters. Okay, within the sum of squares, WS, which means within the sum of squares, it is defined as the sum of square distances between each member of the cluster and its center. This is how we can select k for k, and this is the further procedure. As going to the next one, how can outliers values be treated? So I think you might have an idea on what are outliers and what process can be done to remove those kind of outliers. If anyone knows the answer, please ping me in the chat box. I will see those answers and we'll discuss the answer. And okay. If anyone having any doubt, please ping in the chat box. Okay? Now, as we're looking into this, uh, see how can outliers values be treated. Okay, you can drop the outlier values if it is a garbage value, which is not usual to us. Example: suppose height of an adult is ABC, it in XY ABC feet. This cannot be true as the height cannot be a string value, right? In this case, outlier can be removed. It can be neglected. If the outliers have extreme values, they can be removed. For example, if all the data points are clustered between 0 to 10, but one point lies at 100, then we can remove this point. Okay. Uh, if you cannot drop outliers, you can try these following steps. If the outliers cannot be dropped, you have to follow these kind of steps. And the steps are first the first step is you have to try different model. Data detected as outliers by linear models can be fit by non-linear models. Therefore, be sure you are choosing the correct model. Try normalizing the data. So first of all, you have to upload the data and do the perform the normalizing function. And if there are to check whether there are any outliers in the box plot, you have to use the box plot technique. Therefore, be sure you are choosing the correct model, and this way the extreme data points are pulled to a similar range. Okay, you can use algorithms which are very less affected by outliers. An example would be a random forest. In this random forest, uh, this would be less affected by the outliers. Okay, yeah. As jumping into the next question, see, this is an interview question. I've been searched it from the online. It is an asked question. Okay, so the question is, you have been giving a data set on cancer detection. You have built a classification model and achieved an accuracy of 96% on this model. Okay, why shouldn't you be happy with your model performance? What can you do about it? If interviewer asks these kind of questions, how is the process to be replied by you? Okay, please try to reply in the chat box. I'll see those replies, and I'll say the answer, what would be the answer, and we'll discuss it in a minute. Okay. Yeah. Now, as we're looking into this, see, uh, cancer detection result in imbalanced data. In an imbalanced data set, accuracy should not be based on the measures of performance. It is important to focus on the remaining 4%. Okay, which means in this data prediction of cancer data set, he had got an accuracy of 96%. So, what are the 4% of mistakes have been done by him, which represents the patient who are wrongly diagnosed? Early diagnosis is crucial when it comes to cancer detection and can greatly improve a patient's prognosis. Okay. Hence, to evaluate model performance, we should use sensitive true position rate, specifically true negative rate, F measures to determine the class-wise performance of the classifier. Yeah. Before jumping into the next one, there is a student called Rashid Salim. So he have been asked me a question in the chat box, how to start a career in data science. Rashid, if you are from programming background, you have to have an idea on Python and R programming. Okay. Uh, if you have somewhat idea on Python and R programming, you can complete the data science course within 6 to 8 months, and you can jump into the data science sector, and you can grow well. Okay, if you are a non-technical person, like which means non-coding background from mechanical, civil, and all. So first of all, you focus on Python, R programming, Tableau, and all the courses, which might help you to the basics, and to start how to start the data science. And after that, you could complete your data science course, and attend the interviews, which might you will get in by institute itself, or by any organized or any social media website and all. Okay, yeah. As we jumping into the next one, suppose we want to predict the probability of death from heart diseases based on three risk factors: age, gender, and blood cholesterol levels. So this is a probability of how many persons have been died based on the three factors, and the factors are age, gender, and blood cholesterol levels. What is the most appropriate algorithm for this case? And for this, I like to give you some options, and there are logistic regressions, linear regressions, k-means clustering, and appropriate algorithms. These were the options how to predict these kind of risk factors, and how to choose the correct option. Okay. Yeah, if anyone knows the answer, please bring me in the chat box. I'll like to see those answers. We'll discuss the answer in a minute. And that's it. I think I have been answered your question. If you have any more questions, you could please bring in the chat box. Okay. Now, as we looking into this, the most appropriate algorithm for this case is logistic regression. And by using this logistic regression, we can predict the probability of death from heart diseases by using the three different factors. Okay? Jumping to the next one, yeah, jumping to the next one. After studying the behavior of a population, you have identified four specific individual types. Okay, they are valuable to your studies. Those are very valuable to your studies. So you would like to find all users who are most similar to each individual type. Which algorithm is most appropriate for this? You have been studied, studied the behavior of population. Among that, there are many valuable points to be noted, and which algorithm are mostly appropriate for this kind of studies. And the options I give you: k-means clustering, linear regression, associates rules, and this. I would like to give you a minute. If anyone knows the answer, please bring me in the chat box. I would like to see those answers, and we'll discuss the answer in a minute. Okay? As we jumping into the next question, the answer of this is yeah. As we are looking for grouping people together specifically by four different similarities, this indicates the value of k, which means therefore k means clustering is the most appropriate algorithm for this kind of studies. Okay, so uh, to go through this, we prefer k means clustering. Okay, yeah. As jumping into the next one, what are the feature vectors? What does it actually means? If anyone knows the answer, please ping in the chat box. I like to see those answers, and we'll discuss the answer in a minute. Yeah. Now, as we're looking into this, what are the feature vectors? Feature vectors. Feature vector is an n-dimensional vector of numerical features that represents an object in machine learning. Feature vectors are used to represent numeric or symbolic characters called features of an object in a mathematical way that is easy to analyze. Okay, these basically represents any kind of object in a mathematical way which are very easy to analyze. So to analyze those kind of data, very huge amount of huge variables of data, we use this by using this feature vectors. It directly converts into an object which is in a mathematical way, and it is very easy for us to analyze. Okay, yeah. As jumping to the next one, what is logistic regression? What does it actually mean? If anyone knows the answer, please ping in the chat box. I'll see those answers and we'll discuss the answer in a minute. Yeah. As looking into this, what is logistic regression? What does it actually means? Logistic regression is also known as logic model. Okay, it is a technique used to forecast the binary outcome from a linear combination of predicted variables, which means it's basically a technique by which we'll get the output as binary variables from linear combinations of predicted values. Okay, this is called as a logistic regression, and it is also called as a logic model. Yeah, jumping into the next one. What are recommender systems? If anyone knows the answer, please ping me in the chat box. We'll discuss the answer in a minute. Okay. Yeah. Now, as we're looking into this, what are recommender systems? Recommender systems are a subclass of informations which helps to filtering systems and which are meant to predict the preferences or ratings that a user would give to a product. Okay, these are basically used for meant to predict the preferences or ratings which are given to a product. This is called as recommender systems. And we also have a question in the chat box by Radhakrishnan Naik sir. Uh, can a person having teaching experience of 25 years in CS and having good research background jump to data analytics? Yes, sir. Actually, to jump into this data analytics, you must have know basically on some of the codings like Python, R programming, Tableau. You have to be very perfect on this, sir. So if you have an idea on it, you can start learning the course, and the course might goes to 6 to 8 months, and after that, you'll get an idea what were the topics covered, what is the exact process to be done, and all. So by this, after 6 to 8 months, you can join, sir. Like you can search for another organization. Uh, Actually, in CS means I think it's cyber security, right? Sir? Fine. You can jump into this data analytics if you have an idea, somewhat of coding knowledge on Python, R programming, Tableau, and also. And if you also wanna go with machine learning and artificial intelligence, it's well and good. Yeah. Jumping to the next one. Explain cross validation. What does it exactly mean? If anyone knows the answer, please ping me in the chat box. I'll see those replies and we'll discuss the answer in a minute. Radhakrishnan, I think I've been answered your question. Yeah. Now, as we're looking into this, explain cross validation. Cross validation, what is it exactly? Basically, it is a model validation technique. It's used for evaluating how the outcomes of a statistical analysis will generalize to an independent data set. With a separate data set, how does the outcomes will statistically analyze for a separate data set and how the output might become. This is mainly used in backgrounds where the objective is for forecast and one wants to estimate how accurate a model will accomplish in practice, which means suppose if we want to test the data, firstly we'll make some predictions. After getting the output, we'll compare with the predictions and we'll just estimate how the accuracy is, right? So this is how the cross validation process will be done. Now I'll jumping to the next one. What is collaborative filtering? How does it work? I'll be giving you a minute. If anyone knows the answer, please ping me in the chat box. We'll discuss the answer in a minute. Yeah. And now, as we're looking into this collaborative filtering, these are mostly recommended systems used to filter process to find patterns and information by collaborating perspectives, numerous data sources, and several agents. This is the basic procedure how the collaborative filtering works on. Let's jump into the next one. What are the drawbacks of the linear model? what are the main drawbacks of it? If anyone knows the answer, please ping me in the chat box. I'll be holding on for a minute and we'll discuss the answer in a minute. Yeah. Now, as we look into this, what are the drawbacks of this linear model? This basically have three different drawbacks for this linear model. And the first one is the assumptions of linearities of the errors, which means there were linear functions, right? And the assumptions there were almost there are errors. It cannot be used for count outcomes or binary outcomes, which they cannot be used for binary or count outcomes. There are overfitting problems which can't be solved. These are the major drawbacks for this linear model. Yeah, jumping to the next one. How regularly must an algorithm be updated? How regularly? Yeah. So we have been asked some question in the chat box. Logistic regression is a class where, yes, Radhik. Actually, logistic regression is a statistical analysis method, which basically is a method which helps to predict a binary outcome such as yes or no based on the observations on the data set. This logistic regression model, it basically predicts the dependent, not independent. It basically depends the dependent data variables by analyzing the relationship between the existing and the independent variables. This is how the logistic regression goes on. Yeah, if anyone knows the answer for this, how regularly must an algorithm be updated, please ping in the chat box. I'll see those answers and we'll just discuss it back in a minute. How regularly must an algorithm be updated? So you will want to update an algorithm when you have to update any algorithm. You want the model to evolve as data stream through infrastructures. The underlying data sources is changing. There is a case of non-stationarity. So by using this, these are the algorithms regularly must be they have been updated. Okay. Again, we have a question. Okay. Yes, Radha Krishna, if you're from computer science background, that is well and good. I think you have been gone through C, Java, Python, and uh, C, Java, and Python at least. So if you learn the course of data science, then it is very helpful for you. This is uh, just my suggestion that you can just go through. Okay? Yeah, jumping to the next one. Why is resampling done? Why is that actually done? I'll be giving you a minute. If anyone knows the answer, please ping me in the chat box. We'll discuss the answer in a minute. Yeah. As we're looking into this, what is why is resampling done? Resampling is done in any of these cases. Okay, by estimating the accuracy of sample statistics by using the subsets or accessibility of data or drawing the random variables which has been replaced by a set of data points and all. And the second step by should be a resampling done is by substituting labels on data points when performing significant tests. Then we have to perform a resampling should be done, and also by validating models by using the random subsets like bootstrapping and cross validation. By using this kind of stuff, this kind of format and this kind of steps to be procedure, we have to use resampling. And we have a question in the chat box. Yes, whether IT industry recruits the person from the C. Radhakrishnan sir, actually it basically depends on the organization. Right? So some of the organizations might just test your skills, and some of them might check your background, like from which company, which background have you came, whether it is a teaching background, software background, IT background, testing background. In a software also there have been many roles, right? Like testing role, uh, software developer, software assistant. Like those are many kind of roles in the IT industry. So it totally depends on the organization, and we can't say it exactly. Okay. Yeah. As look, jumping to the next one, what is selection bias? What does it exactly mean? I would like to give you a minute. If anyone knows the answer, please speak in the chat box. We'll discuss the answer in a minute. Yeah. As looking into this, what is selection bias? Selection bias in general is a problematic situation in which error is introduced due to some non-random population sample. This is what is selection bias. This is basically an error which is introduced due to the non-random population sample. Yeah, as jumping to the next one, what are the types of biases and that can occur during the sampling? What are the types that can occur during the sampling? I would like to give you a minute. If you know the answer, please bring the chat box and we'll discuss the answer in a minute. Yeah, as we look into this, what are the types of biases that are occurring during the sampling technique? Those are the selection bias, undercoverage bias, and surveillance bias. These are the three biasing techniques. Uh, these were the three biasing techniques which we use for the sampling purpose, and this also gets a types of biasing that can occur during sampling. Okay. Yeah, so looking to the next one and the last one for the day. What is survivorship bias? This is this type of sampling. Right? So, what is the survivorship bias? I would like to give you a minute. If you can also answer, please that one, and we'll discuss the answer in a minute. Yeah, as we're looking into this, survivorship bias. This is the logical error of focusing an aspect that supports the surviving a process and casually overlooking those that did not because of their lack of prominence. Okay, this can lead to wrong conclusions in numerous ways, in many number of. So that's it for the day, guys. We have been gone through some questions which have been, if you were been going through this, we have been gone through some questions from data science, and the interviewer might ask this kind of this is a combination of both the basic questions as well as typical questions which have been asked in the interview preparation interviews of data science and data analytics and data statistics and all. So that's it for the day, guys. We'll meet you in the next class, and thank you for joining. Yeah, bye. Have a great weekend.